Hey everyone, before we jump into the review, just a quick reminder, I will not be coloring a panel or using panels this week due to the copyright strike by Shueisha on the channel. So I will not be doing that this week. I may add maybe some few pictures from the anime or something in here. But yeah, I don't want to get striked again because Shueisha. But yeah, just a quick reminder, no panels this week, no colored panels sadly. If I do make one, I will probably link it. It will be on my Instagram, so you could follow me there to see it. Um, so yeah, let's jump back into next video because this is future me recording this message after I made the review. So future me, back to the past me for the review now. So yeah, I'll see y'all. Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing One Piece chapter 1009, titled Naraku. The unofficial is called Hell, so I prefer the unofficial's name opposed to the official. Same for some of the attacks, but let's dive right into it. So first things first, this week One Piece had the cover for Shonen Jump. And on the cover we see Luffy, and it seems he's in Wano, of course, with the cherry blossoms and all of that in the background. And it says, the winds of adventure propel him forward. And there's a little green tag in the middle of it that says, Act 3 of Wano is going strong and the war approaches its climax. So maybe this won't be a 5-part play like we expected and it would just be 3 parts. Who knows, we have to wait and see, but this hints that this war is coming to an end shortly. And knowing Oda, that means probably by the end of the year. So yeah, let's dive into it now. From there we get a double page spread, it's colored of course. And some things to notice about this is, first and foremost, we are in a snowy area. Jinbei has on a big jacket and it has a shark on it, of course, because he's a fisherman. Shark is on his arm. We see Brook has on a hoodie and he's playing his guitar, and of course it has devil horns because Brook, the devil, the Satan clan, that stuff. We see Komochio in the background. We see Usopp, Nami, Chopper, and Robin, and what seems to be Frankie isn't paying attention to them, but Frankie has on a cyborg sweater drinking. But they have the 4 others next to these statues putting on casa hats for them. So I'm not sure if this is a reference to the scabbards, because these look kind of like gravestones or stones you would set up as like a monument for people, and they also have the red thing around their necks, so maybe. We also see Luffy and Tama playing. Tama took Luffy's hat and ran away with it, and Luffy is chasing her. Eating, usual thing with Luffy. Zoro is there chilling with a sweater and it has 3 sword style mark right here, or 3 swords. And Sanji is right there as well, sitting eating, and he has something about cook on his arm here for the sweater. So yeah, next we dive straight directly into the chapter, and we see the first page is some men putting out the fire. And they say it's hot, so of course this is reference to the last chapter. Orochi was running around setting the place on fire because Orochi. I wonder if he knows that they're in the sky, and if he sets this on fire, there's no way for him to run as well. Oh well, Orochi is a dumbass. Either way, and first page, shockingly, the scabbards run into Orochi, which I did not expect, right off the bat, so that is shocking. And Kinemon and Orochi acknowledge each other, and basically calls them half-dead failures, and tells them that they're the last bit of the Kozuki clan that's left, so if he kills them, basically that's it there. And he proceeds to transform into his Orochi form, or Yamato no Orochi that is, Also, before that, he said he was shocked when he found out that Kyoshiro or Denjiro turned on him, but he proceeds to turn into his Yamato no Orochi and says he's going to put an end to everything. The Scabbers draw their swords and they attack and instantly behead Orochi. But something to notice here, if you look at the panel, you would notice that what seems to be 6 heads are cut off here. We know the Yamato no Orochi has 8 heads, and last time Kaido cut off 1 head. So I don't think he's dead. I believe to kill him we either need to kill him 8 times or we need to cut off all 8 heads at once. But yeah, he basically dies, I say loosely. And we see Fukurokuju ball out for his master, and basically these Scabbards say they have no time to waste on Orochi. He'll be judged in hell, and they walk off like badasses in the scene. We see Orochi's head on the ground, and this is where Raizo and Fukurokuju and Raizo square up then. And Raizo tells him he's surprised. He shows basically he shows allegiance to such a fool being Orochi, and that he's dead. And Fukurokuju reminds him that you're basically doing the same thing, showing devotion and staying loyal to someone who's dead as well, that being Odin. But yeah, that is the big battle I guess we're going to get next, because if y'all remember, Fukurokuju and Raizo were rivals in the past. Raizo left the gang, or their gang, so I'm going to assume that this is their big show off here, and I'm going to assume this happens for all the Scabbards. Everyone is going to get like a one-on-one big battle. So yeah, we then basically cut back to the rooftop, and we see basically Big Mom and Kaido, and Big Mom tells Kaido, let's try a joint attack or a big attack, depending on which translation you're reading. My advice, and I say this all the time, go to this website, the Shueisha website or the Jump website, and read the official. It supports the mangaka as well, but go read the official, and because I know a lot of people read Fridays when the unofficial drops, but go read the official as well, because sometimes it adds more context to things. So yeah, basically we see Big Mom and Kaido planning a joint attack, and we get a small panel with the Supernovas talking now, and Kid asks Law if he can't use his shambles or his powers to teleport one of them away so it would be easier to fight. And we get the revelation now that Law's power is indeed connected to Haki, and Big Mom and Kaido have too much Haki for him to just teleport them away. So Kid says fine, we'll just rip them apart or tear them apart or split them up, whichever one you prefer translation wise. And this is where Luffy says heads up, they're going to do something big, or heads up, something big is coming. And we see both Big Mom and Kaido charge up to swing. Kaido has his Kanambo, Big Mom has Napoleon, and they charge up for one big attack and they let loose. And in the unofficial it's called Ocean Sovereignty. Killer says they won't be able to dodge, and Zoro says this is insane. In the official it is called Conquest of the Sea. So yeah, in this one now, Killer says there's no way they could avoid it. Zoro said, oh, this is bad. And we see a big explosion on Onigashima, on the rooftop. And we get a small panel. We see Kaido's face, Big Mom's face, and Zoro's face right between, like right here. So Big Mom, Kaido, Zoro. And what would you know, our boy Zoro standing out again. Zoro actually jumps in front of the attack and he's like, move all of you. So he basically throws himself in front of the attack and blocks it for everyone to get away. and he says, you know, move or we're all done for. And we see this big explosion take place. Big explosion. Um, and when the explosion happens, we see the lighting is really good for explosions, being a manga. We see a big explosion on the back of Onigashima. We see the faces of everyone um, who was in the explosion. So we see what seems to be Kid. Kid is bleeding, by the way, across his eye. We see Kid. We see Luffy opening his mouth and screaming. We see Law with his hands. So we're wondering what Law did. We see Killer, and we see what seems to be Zoro. But we see after the explosion happened, rocks falling down below, of course. And Big Mom mentions, or is it Big Mom or is it Kaido? One of them mentions they can still, their voices haven't gone out. They can still hear their voices. And we're wondering why is that. But then we get the next panel and we see that Law, when we saw Law do this previously on the previous page, what he did do was he managed to use shambles in time to teleport everyone away. So Zoro held off the attack long enough for Law to save everyone. But again, Zoro is MVP because he just blocked a big attack from 2 Yonkos. No small feat. And we see Luffy running with a Gomu Gomu no red, and before he can finish, Kaido dodges. And people might say this means Luffy could hurt Kaido, and of course he can, we saw that earlier, but I believe the reason why Kaido isn't just tanking moves now is because he's taking the fight serious. And in a serious fight, you don't just tank moves. Unless you need to, you dodge. So Kaido, I feel, is showing a bit more respect to the supernovas now in that aspect, where he's not just going to take move after move, he's going to fight and fight smartly and react to moves and counter moves. And we see that here, because when Luffy swings and he dodges, Kaido pulls his Kanambo to hit Luffy with it, but Luffy manages to block in time. He pulls back his arms and armaments them up and blocks, but he goes flying into a wall. We then get what seems to be a hyper beam from Kaido. This panel reminds me of, I believe it's Dragon Ball Z. It was either Nappa or Piccolo opened their mouth wide like that and shot a beam. But he shoots a beam and Luffy barely dodges it. Then Kaido jumps up to the air and uses an attack called Conqueror of Three Worlds in the official. In the unofficial, it is called something cooler, which is Three Realms. So, I mean, Three Worlds, Three Realms, same thing, but I prefer that name. But yeah, he jumps up in the air and he comes down swinging his Kanambo, and he balls Ragnaroku. So it's Conqueror of Three Worlds Ragnaroku. Probably reference to the name of the chapter Ragnaroku, and the chapter's name is Naraku. So Ragnaroku, the attack, Naraku, the chapter name. But yeah, in the unofficial, it's called Ragnarok. So basically, Ragnarok, Luffy dodges in time, barely, and we see Zoro is tired and huffing. And we see a box was made by Kid, a big metal box, and Kid says it's all ready. And we see Big Mom looking, and Lord of Shambles, and we see Zeus by Big Mom 1 second, and then the next second Zeus is gone. So they throw Zeus in the box, and we see Zeus calling out for Big Mom to help him. Mama, Mama, where are you? And we see what seems to be now Zoro and Killer do a team up now, and they rush at Big Mom. Killer asks him if he's ready or can he manage, and Zoro basically says he has to. So Zoro rushes in, and Zoro does Kinemon's fire cutting move again, of course, to cut Prometheus, who's fire. So he cuts up Prometheus in half, and then again, and Big Mom falls. And uses Flame Rend again and cuts him up into tinier pieces. And we see Killer is using his death sight blades and attacking Napoleon constantly. And we see now all of the homies being Big Mom's homies, sorry, all of Big Mom's homies, Prometheus, Zeus, and Napoleon calling for Mama for help. And she says, "Come back to me," but of course they can't. And Kid takes the opportunity to fire what seems like it's called Punk Pistol, but it seems to be it looks like arrows or metal spikes he fires at her, and she tanks them. It hits her and just bounces off like pew pew. And she says, "There's not actually going to beat me," and she proceeds to punch Kid in the face. However, the good thing about this is we see Kid's durability. Kid tanks it, and he grabs a hold of Big Mom, and he uses an attack called Repel. So Repel is similar to those who know Naruto. It's similar to what we would call Pain's Shinra Tensei. So he uses that, and he repels Big Mom up into the air. And Law uses tact and a ginormous boulder and hits Big Mom with it. And she's flying off of the island, and we get Big Mom saying, "You little fools, it doesn't matter if you hit me with a rock." And then she realizes before she could finish the sentence, she's like, "Huh? What?" And she begins to fall. She's like, "I forgot there's nothing but sea below me. Help, Zeus." So basically they tag teamed and knocked her off of the island, which is a good strategy. And we don't know if she is going to land on the ground, in the ocean. She says there's sea below her, or if someone would save her. But basically this is where the chapter ends, because we see Zeus screaming for Mama inside the box. And Law says if he can't fly down there to help her, then that takes care of it. That takes care of her, and the chapter ends. And this was a fairly quick chapter due to it being mostly fight, and that's good because we wanted this. No break next week, I believe. April 11, just double check your notes. April 11, so no break. But yeah, I'm glad that the Supernovas are working together as a team more so now, and thinking and not just charging in. And they're not being bold enough to say that they think they can handle both of them at the same time, because they realize they are getting their asses handed to them. So that was good. I enjoyed this chapter for that. Again, I don't think Orochi is dead. I think they need to cut off 8 heads at once to kill him, or he needs to die 8 times. So maybe Momo meets him and kills him, or Hiyori, I don't know. We'll see. Of course, we still need to see where Kanjuro is, because we don't know where he went. But all in all, really good chapter. I think next chapter we're going to get more of this fight, and we may see what the outcome for Big Mom is. It would be funny if she falls and lands into her own ship below, because they're trailing the island. But yeah, I think next chapter we're going to get more of Kaido versus the 5 supernovas. And we still have Toki's prophecy that mentioned 9 shadows. So I'm thinking that the 9 shadows, of course, are not the scabbards. We have 5 of them up there already, that being Kid, Killer, Law, Luffy, Zoro. I'm thinking Yamato would be one. That's 6. Drake, Apu, and Hawkins to make 9. So the 9 supernovas basically, and Yamato. But again, if you're new here, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and join. Subscribing costs you $0. It's $3.99, so feel free to sub for more videos. I'm trying a new setup. It's a bit dark, but as a work in progress. Today was a kind of hectic day, so I didn't have time to finish setup fully. But we'll work on the lighting and stuff for the next one, hopefully. I'll have it done by then. But let me know what y'all think, and of course no panels this week again because the strike. So yeah,